Okay, just answer questions and stuff.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I was thinking about doing the drawing and maybe sticking around for a few minutes and try to show how I do some of these copper badges. This is a little thinner copper than what I've been using the last two or three that I've done. Um, this is actually out of an industrial transformer. Normally,
Honey,
what I, huh?
honey and pickled hammer forge right here.
Hi guys, thanks for swinging in. Anyway, so this is the thinner copper that I've used. It's a little easier to work, and otherwise, the other stuff that I use is just like some, I don't know, it's inch and 3/4 or maybe 2 inch copper pipe. I'll cut off a section with a hacksaw, heat it up, anneal it, and then cut down the edge of the pipe with a tin snips and lay it out flat, and then I have a sheet of copper. So, should we do? No, you got the Santa hat on.
I have my list and I checked it like 5 times instead of just the twice.
I thought you said whisper was the loudest you could go.
This is the loudest I can go. I'm trying to project
Okay.
so they can hear me. Sorry, I have a cold, everybody.
Same.
All right. You want to do this or do that?
Well, hold on just a second.
Okay.
My media here is the pitch. It's not actual like pine
Okay.
pitch. I'm cheap. I found more or less new old stock, a great big box of the yellowish colored hot glue sticks. And so I put some cement in the bottom of a stainless steel bowl, and then I melted the glue sticks into it, and like heating it up and melting it on the grill is what turned it black. So it's pretty solid. It does a pretty good job. But anyway,
Okay.
how many we got watching, Katie?
5 and 2 likes.
Whole 5.
Well,
Gee, it's kind of disappointing. I thought we had like everybody in. But we ended up with what, 26?
26.
26 entries.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So-
Granddad. Sorry, Granddad.
Hi, Rob.
All right.
Hold on. She's got the random number generator thingy here.
4 likes. Yeah.
And she's been playing with it. So
Actually,
anyway.
I just pulled it up.
Oh, okay. So there we go.
Number
Number
14
14.
is Craig J.
Craig J. Okay.
AJ.
So, Craig, I'm going to need to get in contact with you. Figure out what you want on your badge, what I can do, suggestions, things like that. And you can get a hold of me on Facebook, JT Barrett. You can't miss me, and dog beers have only had one. So, thank you, honey.
You're welcome. I'm going to go decorate the tree.
Okay.
I'll be with you in just a minute.
No, you won't.
True.
So anyway, I'm not sure how well this is going to work out because I don't think the resolution on my phone is all that great. But does anybody want to see me try to tap out an anvil on this piece of copper? It's more or less just a Sharpie marker. Did a quick drawing. It's just a demo piece. It's not the one that Craig's going to get.
6 people watching. 6 likes.
So what do we got for comments?
Not a whole lot, I guess. How do I bring it up? Craig, hey monkey, Craig, come on and like it, peeps. That was Penny. First to Reforge and Rock and Blue Monkey. Hello Penny. Hello Pickled Hammer.
No, I just, did they want me to do the copper, or they got better things to do?
I will watch on replay. I have to go, unfortunately. Congrats, Craig. Nothing yet.
Okay. Yeah, my phone's kind of slow.
Yeah. So sorry if we don't respond.
Oh, I can.
Sweet.
Yeah, well, that's don't.
Okay.
It's gonna be like watching yourself in the mirror with the camera.
The phone's out of focus. Okay, now it's clear.
Did you break it?
No. I hope not.
Do it. Phone's pretty sharp. Okay, well, I'm gonna give this a shot. This is my little hunky-dory little stand. It's just made out of a 4x4 post. You got a 2x4 on the bottom, 2x6 on the top. A lot of these little peck marks in there. That's from when I was working on Yamez's apron and when I was stitching the leather back together. So, had to punch holes in the leather and stuff. But anyway, so what I got here for my tool, my engravers, I guess you'd call it. These are concrete nails, and then I found a whole pile of old Allen wrenches. And I really should have taken a page out of Roy from Christ-Centered Ironworks book. He's got a couple of videos on making chasing tools, and yeah, if I would have caught up with that and done it earlier in the year, because it's crappy and snowy right now,
Sorry, Penny.
I would have had some great tools. The biggest problem with these is they are so tiny and hard to hold on to. So I'm gonna see if this will focus. This one's just a liner.
Hey,
It's
with the
just
forge.
straight. Hey, Adam. And then this one's kind of a beveling tool. So I start off with the liner, and it has just a very slight radius on there.
Sorry, Adam. Craig J. won the drawing. Number 14.
Actually, Adam, you won one already. So anyway, I don't know how bad this is going to bounce the floor, but this is actually setting higher than what my little bench does at home. Hi, Aiden. What are you doing? Katie.
Sorry.
Pay attention down here, and we'll see if this works. I know we have people named Ting Ting, Thud Thud, and Bam Bam. First one to start calling me Tap Tap. Don't.
Morning, Ivy.
Morning, Anson. I kind of goobered on some of the lines when I was drawing, so I'm not going to go all the way out. Step down to the next line. Used to keep snickering, Katie.
I think you are now officially Dubs Tap Tap. Jeez.
Don't make me get out my little hammer.
Tap Tap. What?
And can you see what I'm doing here or not? 'Cause it's kind of dark. I hope you're wearing your ear defenders.
10 people, 7 likes.
Yeah, I gotta mess that up. But that's a good thing because this is a practice piece.
It's about 9:40 over here.
And it looks crude. It always does when you first start them. Then I'm gonna readjust this line right to here. Katie, do you need a Kleenex?
No, not yet.
Oh yes, this is my Repoussé hammer. It's a taffy little thing.
Hi,
This
Charming
was,
Hollow.
Hans, Amy in the house too?
Just a second. Let's see if I can bring this up.
Oh.
Like that. I can see it pretty good. Amy?
Amy Groff.
McGrath. Nope, not yet.
But anyway, this is my little tapping hammer. It was a guide pin for a mold.
She's at church.
It's a guide pin from a mold, and I had about 8 of them given to me. I don't know what steel they are, but I'm almost positive they got like a 52 to 56 Rockwell hardness. This one's got the martensite on it. Really crude. I threw it in the fire pit and I cooked the heck out of it, and then I center punched it and drilled the hole in it with the thought of making an actual hammer out of it. But I thought it'd be a little too unwieldy with a handle. Typically when you see people doing chasing and repoussé, they use a long whippy handle on the hammer to kind of get it to bounce.
I just have a cold.
Yeah, she has. Oh, there's Luffy. Okay. Luffy? Luffy? How?
I think it's Luke.
Well, I'm not sure, but I think we always pronounce it wrong. So anyway, back to tapping her. This will never get done. That in there. And I'm more or less trying to keep that bevel pointing out, because then when I get all done doing all the chasing around the edges and stuff, I come back and that's when I do stippling. Really nothing spectacular, but it's something to do while I'm sitting in the basement. Now, to make the arc.
Hi, Smelter Dragon.
Hi. I'm sorry, I forgot who Smelted Dragon is. He's changed his name like 3 times.
Smelter Dragon Forge.
Well, I mean, before.
Oh.
It'll come to me or somebody will comment. Okay, let's see. We'll turn it this way. Not near as loud as what I thought it would be.
Marvin Jones or Jonesy.
Jonesy, that's it. I'm sorry. I'm terrible with names.
Hey.
What are you doing? Oh,
He's just grabbing paper.
yeah. That's his paper.
Pay close attention to the underside of rivet holes on those. Mine were a bit ragged and sharp. Nothing I couldn't fix, but something to think about.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I actually got some different rivets. I was running low on rivets, and so I had to order some more from Brenton's Village Leather. They've got good prices, free shipping, or shipping is included, put it that way. And
It's fine.
oh, that's just Aiden. That's normal. So anyway, when I did the apron for Yamez and patched it up, I knew the rivets were going to be a little on the sharp side. So what I did with that was on the back of the actual badge, where the rivets came through the leather, I just took a piece of craft felt and then smeared it with Tight Bond, I think it is. No, not Tight Bond. Tacky glue, craft glue. And then weighted it down with a board and let it dry overnight. And so far, so good. That's why I keep asking them, is everything okay with your apron? So, okay. The straight lines I have to go back over to get those to bevel. Yeah, if anybody gets a badge from me and they mount it and I had, the rivets seem to have a sharp edge to them, you could use just about anything to pad that on the apron. That's why also when they're mounted, typically they go up here in a spot where they're not gonna be in the way. It's not a spot where you're gonna be slamming your tongs or anything else. You can take like shoe goo, silicone caulking, something like that, and just put a dab over the back of the rivet and spit it on your finger and tap it down, let it dry, and that'll kind of pat it in there. Oh, the other very important thing to have for doing all this is a torch, propane torch, or what do they call it in England? A plumber's torch, I think. I'll get corrected if I'm wrong, right?
Probably.
Oh, there now some stuff's rattling in the kitchen. What's up, Katie?
This guy.
The copper itself. Yeah, Adam, I use I've got a generic Whitney punch that I use to punch the holes. Oh, cool, Rob. But yeah, the Whitney punch does kind of leave a little bit of an edge. I'll remember that on future ones, and I'll use my reamer or deburring tool and try to fix that. But yeah, those sharp edges, typically, if you're mounting it on an apron or something, they're really not a big issue, or at least they shouldn't be. So, oh, what else did I need? Oh, I changed over tools. I was using the narrow one. Now I went to a little wider one, and they're pretty close to the same angle. But I'm going to take the wider one with a little sharper tip and start working the straight lines. Because this tool is a little wider, it tends to blend some of the bumps that form. You get kind of like a ridge effect from each strike catching one wave to the next.
And I'm in a silly spot.
What's that?
And I'm in a silly spot.
Okay. But anyway, as you keep working down around these edges and stuff, it'll actually cause the inside, because you're not pushing anything down there, it'll actually start to raise it up, which gives it kind of a, well, it's not exactly a 3D effect, but it's closer to a 3D effect. Let's see. Yes, that's Aiden singing in the background. There we go. There's a narrow one. You know, these little tools, I just made these from, like I said, concrete nails and Allen wrenches, and just ground them, filed them a little bit, beveled the edges and stuff so that they're not too sharp, and cut the metal, and then just polished them up on a brick and then some 400 grit sandpaper. Any questions, Katie?
2.5G effect. Question Green Bee. So I know that 1D is just a line, 2D is like flat, and 3D is like you can actually interact with it. But what's 2.5D?
You're halfway there.
What the Forge asks. Hold on a second. Let me bring it up. Have you thought of making / using a planishing tool to smooth the overlap lines you spoke of?
Yeah, I do kind of work some of these bits. Like I said, I don't know if you can see it or not, but you see how this one has a much sharper tip on it, and then this one, the heel on it all the way up through the point, is actually rounded down a bit. I don't know if my camera's picking up any of that.
It is.
So, but yeah, it's all a progression. You start with the sharp tool, to establish the line, and then
Morning,
planish.
morning, Becca, Becky,
Becky?
Becky.
Becky's here.
Yeah.
Hi, Becky. Oh, Becky wasn't first. Oh, that's what the wife whispered.
Good morning. Good morning from Froggy, California.
Oh, you're lucky it's foggy there, huh? We've got, well, it kind of looks like fog, but then when you stare at it for a second, it's falling.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Green Bee.
About now?
No, he said 2D simulation with 3D effects, I think.
Okay, because I know you said he had a stand to build. It's fiddly. It's kind of an inch by inch project. Well, inches if you're doing inches at a time, you're speeding. And there's actually guys that use air hammers and there's actual air powered like impact. What's the thing I'm looking for? Yeah, it's an impact tool. But anyway, it's
Power hammer.
Well, no, it's not a power hammer, but it's kind of along those lines. But it's air powered. Let's go back and work.
Here in Florida, we don't get fog. We get airborne soup. It's so dense that you take a step and you're soaked to the skin. Oh, and Charles Novitsky says it's called a chicken gun.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Actually, I'm going to go with the starry pattern on this one, just for the heck of it. Appears as though it's emitting little rays of sunshine.
Basically, a small handheld jackhammer.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. I mean, Roy at Price Center Ironworks did one. He basically rigged up forging tools, and when he was doing his little swage blocks, I mean, that's like 200 strikes every 10 seconds.
13 people watching, 13 likes.
Cool. Oh, I only see 12 on there. But anyway, let's see. These two extra lines I have here, that's just because when I set this in the pitch, I'll bend down usually 3 out of 4 corners, but I figured this one's so small I only needed 2. So the hot glue sticks basically is warmed up, those 2 little hooks, and you press it down in there, and then it's set and cool. And once it's down to at least, body temperature, room temperature, it's okay to hammer on. But let me take some 4/0 steel wool. Now the final polish, when I'm all done with these, I've got 1 tube of a metal polish that's made in Germany. And the problem is I can't find it anymore. I don't have it up here either, but it's made in Germany, but it's imported by a company in somewhere in Iowa. Just give this a little buff because I had some hot glue strings on it. It's okay. Let's see if that'll show some of the detail.
That looks really nice.
And it's not even done yet. But you can kind of tell where it's starting to raise up. Which way is the camera going? There, you're on there.
Really crisp job, Jeff.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's kind of the short and skinny on it. And then I just come back with I'll pick a different tool. And this is where it gets really fiddly. And I mean, your fingers get so sore at times.
Hi, Tommy.
Tommy, right? Oh, this one's a different liner. It's got a little more of a bevel to it. But Otherwise, when I do the stippling type stuff, that's a squared one, or you can turn it sideways and make it into diamonds. But yeah, it'd be a lot quicker if I had the air tool, but I'm not an air compressor kind of guy. That bowl doesn't quite sit in there perfect. But anyway, that's where you can kind of get decorative on your corners, like doing scrapbooking, stuff like that. And being as this is copper, if it's annealed properly, oh, that's something else that does happen occasionally, is you have to take it off and anneal it. I'll pop it off the glue, burn the glue off, get it all to turn the oxide black, and then quench it in water, dry it off, stick it right back on the pitch, and away you go. But that'll bring the copper back to a softer state. It's comparative that it'll get as hard as your pitch, but once you anneal it, it'll be as like a plastic bottle. So keep going, quit it. Those two corners I'm going to have to wait on, because I'm going to have to pull those up. Pull the corners, straighten it out, anneal it, reset it, and then come back and do the X's on these. Now, to be doing actual repoussé with this, you would stamp the one side, anneal it, flip it over, and then you would come back and detail it, and you really can start raising things up. But I've done a couple of very small projects like that before. I just get so nervous about it, because when you start working that metal back and forth like that, without enough experience, the tendency is to actually cut right through the metal, and then you have problems. You start all over. I had one project here last week I was working on, and I started out, I stamped it, got that done. I did the marking, outlining and stuff. And then I got to looking at it. I was like, that doesn't look right. And come to find out, I spelled one of the words wrong.
Whoops.
And when you put 2 hours into a project and then you discover your spelling error,
That kind of sucks.
so autocorrect may be your friend sometimes. But when I start doing the filling in, the stippling, if you keep going in straight lines, you can tell you're going in straight lines. So I'll either do kind of a overlapping spiral circular motion or a figure eight. Yes, Aiden. Oh, well.
Or maybe it's autocorrect's fault. Lol.
Yeah, it could be. So,
Is this how you made my bracelet?
yeah, kind of. You want to
No.
pop that off and show it?
Yeah,
Okay.
hold the phone and watch this.
Do I have to hold the phone at myself?
Just a second.
Don't.
There we go.
Don't start flipping.
That's what I'm talking about. Move the camera around. Seriously? Jeez. Okay.
Okay, I was quick reading something that I It wasn't up there.
Pretty bad. Oh, thank you.
You want
That's Dad.
take the phone?
This is the second go.
There. Now you got it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this is kind of a fiddly process, but particularly with using the copper pipe, you have to hit it a little harder. Sorry, the cold is getting me. You have to hit it a little harder to make the impression, and then it takes a little longer. But that's why I like this thinner copper. But I'm probably not going to find another Ingersoll transformer sitting around that nobody wants. Let's see. Oh, and then let's see. I don't know if it'll pick up or not, but I try to be very careful around that beveled edge and work it back. I'm watching my fingers and not where the hammer's hitting. Once again, I want to thank everybody who entered in the drawing contest, whatever you want to call it. I do appreciate it. I appreciate all of my subscribers. Too bad I have no idea how in the heck to even look everybody up.
Have you ever tried leather texturing stamps for the background?
No, I haven't. I've only got like very few actual leather stamps, and most of those are very specific, so I'm not sure if they'd work out so well. It'd be interesting to do, on any soft metal, thin metal. You could probably get away with it easily enough. Copper and aluminum, maybe an annealed brass, you could probably use a leather stamp. But I'd be afraid to see leather stamps tend to be, they're meant to hit leather. And usually that's a softened leather or a wet leather. And the wet leather is going to give more than, say, a piece of metal. So I'd be afraid to mess up the tool itself. Yeah, that's right. I'm not saying it's not possible. You'd want a definite hard backing if you're using a leather tool, say like a granite slab or a piece of hardened steel, something like that. At least when you mess with these, it's not quite as vital and bounce it off your thumb. Anyway, as you can see, this will happen. It's just a given because this is an actual pitch and I didn't roll edges over, but the metal will start to buckle. It'll warp. So after about so much more of this, you'll be able to actually see it all starting to bowl in, and that's when the annealing process needs to come along. Oh yeah, Anson, I had to con Yamez into giving me a picture of your touch mark.
And now we get to see it every day.
Well, he had shared it to Anson, or Anson had shared it to Yamez, and I was like, I need a clear picture of Anson's touch mark. And next thing I know, it was like Messenger pops up. Will this work? And so I asked the wife to print it off, and she did. And I was like, okay. But yeah, doing those fine lines, that gets real fiddly. And especially when I was trying to outline letters. Wow.
Sorry, I'm not passing out Dramamine. Or whatever that's called.
Dramamine,
Dramamine.
the motion sickness pill.
Could you engrave the fine lines?
What's that?
Could you engrave the fine lines?
Could you engrave them, like say with a Dremel or something, or with a punch? Hitting up on those top lines, really fiddly. It's like taking the ramp at the Indy 500.
I don't watch racing, so.
I don't either, not anymore.
Hammer and chisel engraving.
Oh yeah, there are actually people that do the same kind of technique. There was, let's see, I think it was Daniel Kretschmar over at Iron Tree Works was telling me one time about a guy who was using the air chisels and stuff like that to do it on, I think it was 18 gauge steel. And come to find out, what the guy did was he took a sheet of steel, had a machine shop, of course, but he took a sheet of steel and cut it to form a gigantic cookie tray. And you don't have to keep bouncing up and down. But anyway, he more or less formed a gigantic cookie tray, and then he filled it with lead, and he would stick this thinner gauge steel on top of it, and then uses air chisels to do all of his forming and dishing and whatnot. And it was really cool because it was the sun and moon type thing that he put together, where he put the sun on one side, the moon on the other, and then had stars around it and clouds and things. And it looked really neat.
Hi, FDF. Whoever that is.
Sprinkled Donut Forge.
Oh,
Where? I don't see him.
I don't know.
Must be gonna pop up. James Duncan. And I like how James Duncan always announces, this is James Duncan of the Sprinkled Donut Forge, Moscow, Texas.
SDF is Smelted Dragon Forge.
Oh, Smelted Dragon Forge. Okay. Wow.
He's been quiet.
How we go?
I probably put him to sleep.
What is?
Either that or he's not watching.
And I discovered after a few of my first attempts at doing this, the number and letter stamps that I got from Adam. Thank you very much.
Nope, enthralled by Jeff's work.
Okay. Anyway, the number and letter stamps, I tried, I think it was on Bob Buse, B&B Forge. And I more or less did an anvil with 3 flames on the top of it. And then in each one of the flames, I stamped the B, ampersand, and B. Well, I did it after I did all the other work to raise it up. And it took the flame, which was all nice and pillowed up like this, and struck it down. It's like, well, at least you can still read it. So, but yeah, so from then on, I started doing all of the stamping with the letter and number stamps. You do that first, and then work on the rest of the design so that you don't lose texture and character in it. How long have we been running there, Katie?
39 minutes.
Holy cow.
Every time I see SDF, I keep thinking of Robotech. Goes to show what I grew up with. Well,
Oh yeah, we're getting close to halfway. What you
What?
doing? Oh,
Mom,
you
I
can walk through here. Oh,
That's
she
fine.
don't want to be in because you're not wearing your Santa hat.
You're decorating the tree without me. What? I am mentally flipping you off at the moment.
Katie, be nice. This is supposed to be PG. Owen. Oh yeah, can you tell my little stand is not level? It keeps creeping up on me. It's like when your anvil stump isn't level. And if it's not attached to anything, it'll tend to walk its way around.
Every time the screen goes blurry, I just look up at you. Well, I was actually thinking of recording sometime later today with the Forge, so yeah, I have 2 videos currently uploaded on my channel, so if you want to check that out, go ahead.
Oh, someday we'll get Katie back out playing at the Forge.
Yeah, probably sometime in the spring because it's currently like fall, winter, whatever.
One little tap right in here. That's better. Oh, afraid I'm gonna catch my hand on that corner. Hey, honey, that thing that you were looking for earlier, I think you just found it.
Golden Girls?
Huh? Are you paying attention, Katie?
Sort of. No, not really.
Next thing you know, you're gonna be showing people the window.
Oh, Jeff, did I end up sending the proper mount for that action cam or not? If not, I can look and find it and send it out to you.
Yeah, I looked at it and then Denise looked at it and we couldn't figure it out. And so I was like, well, maybe you sent this along so that I can figure out how to put it on there. There's always duct tape.
I said because the dragon has to be so intricate, I guess.
Dragon? What dragon?
Smell the dragon. That should be his what do you call it? His slogan.
I'm just kind of looking. Is Newt's leather and metal smithy in today?
I think so. I don't know. If he is, it's been a while since he commented. So. There's a screw-in piece that goes into a plastic camera bracket that slots into the rest of the accessories.
Yes, that is there.
Yes, that is there.
Oh, you'd be amazed what some of those microphones can catch. An ant can fart at 30 paces and
Okay.
what?
What the Forge said. Okay, so I just did a thumbs up. So. Real camera, but you have to voice over videos taken with it because the mic is crap. Okay.
Huh?
I'm just muttering to myself.
Really?
Yeah. Just a
Yeah,
second.
touch mark. That's something I want to get, but I do so much small smithing stuff. I'd almost have to get like 2 sizes. I don't do much big. One of the last big things I ever did was more or less a chandelier for a lady, and it was very crude, but that's kind of what she wanted. And
Mr. Grinch. We're related. Bowen. Bowen, just don't. Just don't.
I think you're getting a little tricky now. Huh?
I pulled out the glittery one because it's your
Get
favorite.
that glittery thing away
And can I
from
see?
me.
Can I see? Ooh, Jeff Bowen eating.
Bear knit.
Katie. Is that custom made?
It is.
Who made that?
Lady ordered it for us.
Oh, thank you, Lainey. I don't care.
Oh, okay. I see.
I'm a
Not
weirdo.
sure how to do it. Yeah, there's Buckeye Tools. I've heard they make them. There's a few other different places that will make touch marks, but I'm cheap. I've got an idea for a touch mark. It's actually very simple. And I thought about putting DF on it for Drayson's Forge, but that's probably a really bad idea because of Dennis. I don't remember his last name. DF in the shop. So yeah, people might get that confused.
So Drayson is your camp name, but I can't remember. What does it mean again?
What's that?
What does Drayson mean again?
Oh, Drayson. That's way back from my teenage days when my Dungeons and Dragons character was like a half elf or something or other. And anyway, the idea was that, well, you know, you got surnames. Not surname. Well, John's son. They called him Johnson. So I've got this like really crazy affinity for dragons. So I thought, how about if I make mine Dre's son, because my character was the son of a dragon, supposedly, or something like that. But anyway, it kind of stuck because when I got into the SCA, they were like, okay, well, do you have a name that you go by? Because in the SCA, you're able to pick out a persona. You can be pretty much anything you want to be. There's some white guys that portray samurai, and they have a Japanese name in their SCA persona. Somebody who's an African American, but they have a real affinity for Vikings. They could be, you know, Ulf Wolfganger or something like that. You can pick your persona. I knew some folks at one time, they had this little Shih Tzu Chihuahua something or other dog, and they take it to the events and, oh, it's a cute dog. What's his name? Alexander the Great Dane, because the dog's persona, according to them, was that of a Great Dane.
Alexander the Great Dane.
Alexander the Great Dane.
Backstory is important with the Forge, I agree.
Stop missing. Wish the stove would stop rattling behind me.
Well, it's not.
OCD is kicking in.
You have OCD.
Sort of. Okay. Now with one extremely sweaty hand.
You're gonna kind of buff that up.
What's that?
Now you're just gonna buff that up.
Yeah. Like I said, not fully polished or anything, and it's actually still stuck to the pitch. But after I release it from the pitch, I'll anneal it. Might go back and, do the little cross hatches on the other two corners. And then I've got a tiny wooden mallet that I use. The head of it is maybe 3.5 inches long and about 1.5 inches square. And once it's done being annealed, I'll flatten it back out and then punch holes for rivets, and it'll be done. And like I said, this one's pretty much a test piece. That's the one I was using. And you got to look at it like 9 different times because you keep coming up with spots that aren't quite. Yeah, I think that'll do.
We're at 51 minutes.
Okay, we need to let some people get back to their real lives. So, anyway, thank you all for hanging out and watching. And once again, thank you, subs, and thank you for subscribing to the people I asked.
Merry Christmas.
Oh yeah, she's got to do that. But anyway,
And congratulations, Craig J.
yes, Craig J. Like I said, contact me on Facebook or Facebook Messenger, something like that, and I'll get in touch with you, and we'll work something out because you're the winner. All right.
We're all winners in the end.
Yeah, I'm reading on the wife's phone over here. So. But anyway, thank you all. Take care. Be well. Be safe. And oh yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. All right.
Okay.
Did you hit the right button?
Yes.